Hello, my name is Callie Williams, and this is the video portion of my proposal for South by Southwest 2013. The 50 Shades phenomenon has really taken the world by storm, or ravished it, if you will. And it's surprising to a lot of people, but quite frankly, it's not that surprising to me. I've been involved in the BDSM world, both as a lifestyle and professionally speaking, for over a decade. And the number of people that are interested in kinky experiences, of course that word means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, has been remarkably high throughout that decade, of people that don't necessarily identify as kinky, but are really interested in these dynamics. And I think that these books have really proved that to the ultimate degree. It has been said that these books are saving marriages and are reawakening sexual desires in women. You know, mommy porn is suddenly a new buzzword. And I think what that shows most broadly is that we need to be talking about sex. We need to be talking about desires. We need to be talking about them in a way that is intellectual and constructive, as opposed to kind of the fodder for media, the way that sex is usually treated. So these books, the 50 Shades trilogy, have brought the idea of kink out into the mainstream. And even though the books are actually really light on S&M, when from the perspective of someone who has been playing for a really long time, what they've really done is given permission, most, I think, to women who have socially a very dual-sided presentation of sexuality. You know, the whole virgin whore dynamic, which I won't get into now. But what they've really said is that it's okay for women to want to feel sexy. It's okay for women to express their sexual desires, even if they are a little bit outside of the rumble-tumble way that we are presented with, the way sex should be. So that portion is a really big side of the 50 Shades trilogy, is simply that it really is starting, in some ways, a new sexual revolution. The idea of being open about sexual desires has not been prevalent, I'd say, over the last few decades. And obviously it's time for that to be reawakened. And so the first thing that these books have done is really given women and men and couples and singles the opportunity and the permission to talk about sex in a way that everybody else is talking about sex. And that really has been really helpful. The second piece that I'd like to address, though, is this idea of these books being a cultural reference point for BDSM. BDSM community, the kink community, has a wide variety of levels, of interests, of you know, really of different approaches. And but there are some very specific rules, if you will, that that kinky people should follow and do follow, mostly. There are a number of red flags in the book that tend to actually frame it as a bit more abusive, him being a bit more controlling, that sort of thing, which feeds into a lot of the stereotypes that people have always given to dominance and submission, which are just not accurate, frankly. And so using this book as a reference point for what kink is problematic, because there is a whole community of people that that don't resonate with this book, that have been kinky for years. So reading the book is a great start. Reading these three books is a great way to get the juices flowing when they haven't been flowing, perhaps, in a while. But the follow-up to that has to be both more conversation, more dialogue about our sexual desires, more of an open approach to sexuality in general, and what different experiences people have, and also to further the conversation about BDSM, which for many is considered a sexual orientation. And it's about time that it's addressed. So in conclusion, one, it's given people permission to talk about sex. The books are being sold in the grocery store, for crying out loud, and so that is mainstream. That is as mainstream as it gets. B, it has improved people's sex lives because of that permission. Because people suddenly feel like they can do and say and think about things that they maybe thought were closed off to them before. And C, what does that mean for the concept of kink? What does that mean for the kink community? And how can we follow up these books that do have some inaccuracies with real education? Real sex education, BDSM education, and as an opportunity for us all to learn about expressing our sexual desires regardless of what they may be. So these are some of the topics that I'd like to touch on during my presentation at South by Southwest 2013. I hope that you accept my proposal, and feel free to get in touch if you have any questions. Thank you so much. See you next year.